Thanks, Cody. Everyone, tonight is a very special night because we're having some new membership come forward and take part in the Toastmasters Prepared Speech Experience. So this is going to be a very special night for everyone involved tonight. But before we get into the prepared speeches portion of our meeting, let's go over the roles and responsibilities at the table. Maurice, will you tell us a little bit about the general evaluator role?
Yes, a general evaluator gives a general evaluation of the meeting as a whole, and he will also introduce the speech evaluators, the timer for the timers report, and then the grammarian and all counter for those reports.
Awesome. Lawrence, will you tell us a little bit about the table topics portion of our meeting tonight?
Oh, table topic is the most exciting part of the meeting. Table topics is when you have the opportunity to spontaneously speak. And it's really the best thing because if you're in a real work environment, oftentimes you are asked to give your response on something and you have to think spur of the moment. So it's a really valuable thing, and I will just pick strange and unusual topics relative to Halloween for each individual to share their love and joy for the creepy, wonderful Halloween experience.
And I just want to highlight Lawrence's point that tonight's meeting theme is trick or treat as well. Now let's go into the grammarian in the counter role.
So what I will do is count filler words such as but, inappropriately used, and words repeated twice. Also, the word of the day is hallow, and the definition is to make holy or set apart for holy use, to respect greatly. And the sentence example is the most hallowed of all law enforcement agencies.
Well, I know tonight I'm going to be, I express a lot of hallow for the courage that Donovan and Young May have today by taking part in taking the first dip into the Toastmasters experience. And finally, of course, last but not least, Gretchen, please tell us about the timer responsibility.
I will time each time someone speaks at the lectern and inform them by this light when they have reached their minimum time. It will turn green. Their median time would be yellow, and their maximum time limit would be when I turn the light to red.
Thanks, Gretchen. Okay, so now we're going to get started with the prepared speeches portion of our meeting. I'm going to welcome to the lectern Donovan, who is a recently subscribed Toastmasters member, and he's going to be talking about a speech titled Northmobile, which is his persuasive speech. Donovan, please step forward.
Thank you, fellow people. I'm here to invite people to volunteer at nonprofit organizations. First of all, what is a volunteer? A volunteer is someone who offers to do something without any form of payment. There are a couple of reasons that will actually help you. Well, not help you, but gives you a things that you can look at. Like you can find new friends. You can serve others who are in need, like elders, people who are disabled. Well, yeah. And it can also help you to build your resume for colleges or for getting a job as well. What is it and for you? Well, one, it makes you feel good. Like if something happened to you, like you are down and out, like if a family member died, you want to find a hobby to get your mind off of that. And also it's a good way to find a girlfriend on time out. Well, if you are too busy, like people who are lawyers, they don't actually find time. They can always help financially. know that 1 hour equals $20? One volunteer hour equals $20, which is stated on independentsector.org. For my third point is, I know two local organizations in Mobile, Alabama. One is Little Sisters of the Palm. Little Sisters of the Palm is a place where sisters aid the elders. That's where elderly people live. Sometimes, not always. Well, they have like a couple events, like the lawn party. And after the party, I went up to a sister named Sister Judith, and I asked her, how many volunteers do you need to make this a success? And she said 400 volunteers, which saves her over $8,000. I repeat. The second one is North Mobile. North Mobile is a nonprofit organization where people with and without physical and intellectual disabilities share life together. They have different houses, that's what it's like. 201, 1460. I know the director of France. Well, it was originally in France by Jean Bonnet, who won the Pulitzer Prize. So I asked the director how many volunteers. Well, they have they have a couple of events that they do to raise money. One is the annual football dinner, which is in May 31st to be exact. Please write that down. And there was something called the Launch Mobile, which is only January 5th or sometime then. So I asked the director, how many volunteers do you need to make this a success? And he said 800, we need 800 volunteers, which saves over $16,000. That's like more than your annual pay at your work. Well, I go to Springfield College, which is across the street. It is a Jesuit school. Well, and they believe that volunteers is people who build connections to the communities in their own area, like in different places and the world and different states as well. And just briefly going over the points I already read to y'all. It's a good way to find friends. It's a good way to serve others in need. It's good to build up your resume. It's also what's in it for you. And it's also it's financially supportive. I would like to encourage you to volunteer at a nonprofit organization. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Donovan.
You're welcome.
Donovan, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for sharing your first speech with us here, and I really liked how you opened briefly with a few points on why volunteering is important, and I really like how you rehashed those points in the concluding paragraph to really drive home the point.
Thank you.
It's a really great technique that I think you should continue to repeat. Now we're going to move into our second prepared speech, and that will be our new speaker tonight will be Young May. She joined the organization a little bit after Yu Ying left, and we're really glad that now she's stepping up to the plate to give her first icebreaker speech. So Young May, please come forward.
Good evening. Toastmaster members and the guests. I don't know if we have guests or not. First, I thank Diego so help me to assign my first speech in the meeting. I have no idea why I cannot still log in the Easy Speak account. I don't know. So when I was 5 years old, my daddy made a very important decision. So he decided to left a small town and moved to the big city, as Beijing, as capital of China. He wanted my brother and me to getting a better education. In Beijing, I met my best friend, Adi. You know, we live in the same subdivision. We went to the same elementary school, middle school, high school. We almost played together every day. Even later, we went to a different college. We still are tighter in the winter time and summer break. My life was very peaceful and happiness until I told my daddy I had a chance to go to the America after I attended Adi's wedding. My parents, they didn't support me. Even my mom was not happy, and she said, "You are old, and now you need to marry a good man, and then you have your own baby." They tried to persuade me to stay in China and live with them. They are not successful. I came here. In the first few months, I cannot get used in live here. Everything was messed up. I remember the first day I sat in the classroom on campus. I was very upset. I didn't understand my professors talking. I just look at his mouth is open, it's big, but I didn't understand. I was very lucky. I got many helps from people, from my professors, my classmates, my neighbors. They are very nice and patient. Especially in the first semester, my professors, after class, they told me which chapters they taught in the class, if they assign homework, and when the homework needs submit. My neighbor, that's my best friend, Miss Norma, I miss her very much. She used her spare time to review and correct my paper. It often took her 1 or 2 hours. With their help, I graduated from college. I got a first offer in the 6 months later after I graduated. So and now I work in the financial department, CMG, Continental Motor Group. Thank you.
Thank you, young man, for sharing a little brief glimpse into your background and who you are. I really liked how you really started off with talking about a story and drawing us into what it was like before you came here to the U.S. Okay, so we're done with the prepared speeches portion of our meeting, and now we're going to move into the table topics meeting, which will be led by Lawrence. Come forward.
Good evening. Halloween is a very interesting holiday. Actually, I was talking with some various different people over the past couple of weeks. Talked to some people from Southeast Asia and some people from other parts of the world, and it seems to me that almost every culture on the planet has some day when they celebrate that the spirits of those who have passed will come back to the earth and wander around, or at least come and visit their family or something. So it seems like it's a worldwide tradition. There must be something more to it than what we just think. Now, interestingly enough, one of the types of things that are related to Halloween are vampires. I want to bite your neck. Vampires are really kind of creepy because they theoretically live forever because they drink human blood. But in 1962, the Count Dracula Society was founded by Donald A. Reed, and to this day, vampire clubs and societies are all over the world, and many of them claim to be real vampires. So, on this theme, I'd like to have my first speaker this evening. Is there anyone who would like to speak, or shall I just pick randomly? Ah, Diego. Okay, you have been elected to be a member of the Mobile Vampire Association. This is your welcome, your either your acceptance or rejection speech.
My fellow vampires and vampirettes, I'm unfortunately going to have to turn down this opportunity to be a vampire with you all because I myself align more as a morning person, not necessarily a night owl. And so I don't usually, my circadian rhythms do usually not operate at their maximum efficiency at night. I'm way more of a morning person. And so for that reason, I don't want to take away from the pedigree and the caliber and the branding that this organization has by being a Mobile Vampire Society, by joining your ranks and being an effective vampire. So for that reason, while I truly am grateful for the opportunity and the invitation to be a part of your membership, I don't want to harm your branding in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to have to graciously reject the invitation. Mr. Tabletop Toastmaster.
All right. So, one of the things that many people recognize is the movie Halloween. And Halloween 30 and Halloween 50, and seems like it's been going on forever. But the original movie was made in 21 days in 1978 and was shot in, although it was shot in Illinois, it was supposed to be in, all of the vehicles in there had California license plates. So, very interesting. Now, who would like to be our second speaker for this evening? Okay, good. Cody. We're going to make a new Halloween movie, and we would like you to give an audition to be Michael Myers in the new Halloween movie.
I've never watched an Halloween movie, so I don't know if he talks or not. I've just always seen him wearing a mask and standing there, so I don't know what kind of voice I should do. So maybe I'm not the best person for the role of Halloween if I've never seen one of the movies. But if I had to play Michael Myers, I would try to be as creepy as possible without making too much noise. And I think he does a good job of that by just wearing the mask and when you open doors, standing there with a knife, wanting to kill people. So yeah, without my props, I really can't do the role justice. So maybe there's someone else out here that can play Michael Myers better than me, but that's my take on the role. Thank you.
Who would like to take the next talk? Ah, good, good.
Oh, great.
All right. According to legend, If you see a spider on Halloween, it is the spirit of a loved one who is watching over and protecting you. So, Cheyenne, are you going to be looking out and trying to find spiders on Halloween Day?
Thank you. Hello, Toastmasters. I've been asked an interesting question about my least favorite creature on this planet, which is the spider. Living in the South, we have an abundance of spiders everywhere. Door frames, bushes, places where your face goes when you're walking. My first reaction to a spider is to go into full panic mode, swat, and hopefully step on the spider. So according to legend, which I've never heard, that is apparently a loved one. Sorry, Grams, definitely squished you. So I do my best to if I know there's a spider there, I don't look at it because my husband says they kill the bugs, but you still get eaten by mosquitoes when you go outside, so they're not doing their job. But on Halloween, I will not be looking out for spiders because I try to avoid them at all costs.
Thank you. All right, who's next? All right, Heather. A very interesting one. This is a little cute one here. All right, now originally, jack-o'-lanterns, which are the cutout pumpkins, were used in Ireland, where people placed candles in the hollowed out turnips to keep away spirits and ghosts on the Samhain holiday. Are you going to be carving any turnips or even pumpkins for this Halloween?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I've actually not celebrated Halloween very much for much of my life because my mom's kind of always forbidden it. I've never heard of turnips being hollowed out and having candles in them. That kind of seems like they'd be too small. I definitely won't be doing that. I wouldn't think to just go buy turnips, but actually, now that I think about it, that's kind of interesting, and I'll probably look it up. Maybe I could hollow out some turnips. I do like carved pumpkins, though. I think it's a nice display of art, and it does have a nice kind of holiday, Halloween vibe. So I might do that, but I wouldn't have thought to carve out some turnips. I might. So, Mr. Topics Master.
All right. Do we have one more? We got time for one more?
Yeah.
Yeah? She's a little bit leery about coming up here, I can
Let's
see.
hear the question first, the topic.
You want to know what the topic is. Okay, now Halloween originally was celebrated by the Celts. They thought that spirits and ghosts roamed the countryside on Halloween night. So what they did, they started wearing masks and costumes to avoid being noticed by the spirits as being human. So, are you going to be wearing any kind of costumes, or are you going to let the spirits come and visit with you this evening, or on Halloween evening, on All Hallows Eve?
Good evening, Toastmasters. This Halloween, like most Halloweens, I will not be getting into costume for trick-or-treat night, but we have decorated our home. I think that should count as something. Our boys are now 9 and 11, and the last couple of years they definitely wanted to get rid of our cute Halloween decorations. You know, a dog with the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin stuffed on the front porch was no longer cool, so we now have scary decorations and, you know, a woman, a ghost is actually in the front living room window with a light shining under her. So with the lights down, and then in other windows we have posters, which I'm really ready to get rid of as soon as November 1st is here. But when the light shines through them, it's a mummy that looks like it's trying to escape out of the house, and a werewolf in another window, and some other various decorations. So, and then of course we will be going trick-or-treating with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, now, Halloween originally was the celebration, as we said, of spirits going around, and that holiday for the Celts was called Samhain. And Samhainophobia is the fear of Halloween. So, I thank you all for your hallowed responses to this wonderful opportunity for table topics. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Lawrence. I always really enjoy it.
Yes, I don't either.
Now we're going to wrap up with the evaluation portion of our meeting, and that's going to be Maurice.
Fellow Toastmasters, I don't know if this will be considered the hallowed part of the meeting, but I'll give the general evaluation for the meeting. According to my time on my cell phone, we started 2 minutes late, but we did proceed with the pledge and any club business that we needed to go over. And then from there on, things seemed to move smoothly with the 2 speeches from Donovan and Young May. Thank you very much. And then the table topics led by Lawrence and those who volunteered to give their table topics. So at this time, we will go to the first evaluator who evaluated Donovan's speech, and that will be Heather.
Everyone, I evaluated Donovan's speech, which was titled North Mobile, and this is the Persuade with Power speech. When I looked up online the evaluation criteria, there were 3 things: the opening, information used, and emotions and body language. For the opening, I thought it was a really good opening. I liked that you defined for us what a volunteer was and kind of gave your own definition of it so that it would help the rest of the speech make a lot more sense and just help everybody understand what volunteering is. And you also talked about benefits of being a volunteer, like it being fulfilling, it being a place where you can find friends, and something that improves your resume. I definitely agree with all those things. I started volunteering with the Mobile Symphony Orchestra, and I'm trying to volunteer more myself because all those things are definitely good pros, and I agree. The information used, I thought it was great that you gave us some examples of organizations where you can volunteer, just in case anybody needed an example so that they could get started themselves. One of those was Little Sisters of the Poor. It was also good that you went out specifically to those places and you asked them, like, you asked these directors, how many people do you need typically to put on an event like this? You said 400, 800, and I thought it was really good that you emphasized with that number of people that they needed, you emphasized how much money that they saved. You really emphasized they saved $8,000 or $16,000, and I thought that was really good for you to express that. The third thing, emotions and body language. It it was obvious that this was very important to you as far as it being a fulfilling thing to volunteer. And I think you really conveyed that and expressed that pretty well to everybody. So good job on that. And finally, I just want to say that, again, I thought it was good that you emphasized those things, and this was a really good topic overall. Something that I would suggest for improvement is maybe giving more eye contact. But overall, it was a really good topic, and I think it was good that you shared something that was really important to you for this Persuade with the Power of Speech. So thank you for sharing this, Don.
All right, thank you, Heather. Now for the second evaluator, we'll be evaluating young May's speech. That will be Cody.
Well, it's not easy to get up here for your first time, give the icebreaker. I remember mine, which is almost 2 years ago, which is crazy and weird that I've been here this long. But I want to say, overall, just the general feeling of the speech was very good for your first time. So some of the things that I really enjoyed from your speech, you had good eye contact, which is tough to do for your first speech, getting up here and looking at everybody in the eyes. A lot of people tend to, when they're nervous, and they kind of stare or look down, but you didn't. Also, you didn't use notes, so that's really great for your first speech. A lot of times we like to take the notes and use them as kind of a crutch to tune down the nerves, but you didn't. So you had everything either memorized or just speaking from the harder experience, which is great. Also, you seemed very calm at the lectern. I don't know if you were nervous or not, but to me, you came off calm and confident, which is really noticeable when someone's giving a speech, and it helps to deliver the message. Also, I enjoyed your speaking pace. So you were clear, didn't rush it, or go too slow, or have a lot of nervous pauses and things. And my favorite part of the speech was the kind of story at the beginning, kind of getting to know you more, which is always great for the icebreaker speeches. One area for improvement that I noticed, so like I said, the pace was good and it was clear, but you used the same pace and volume throughout the whole speech. It's the only thing I really noticed that maybe you could improve on. The vocal variety can add more enthusiasm and get the audience more involved. But like I said, overall, really great first speech, and I really look forward to hearing more speeches from you in the future. So thank you for coming.
At this time, we'll have the timer's report with Gretchen.
Yes, so Donovan's speech was 5 minutes and 25 seconds. Young Me's speech was 3 minutes and 5 seconds. For table topics, Diego's was 52 seconds, Cody was 54 seconds, Cheyenne was 1 minute exactly, Heather was 52 seconds, and I was 1 minute and 21 seconds. For the evaluation, Heather was 2 minutes and 42 seconds, Cody was 1 minute and 53 seconds.
At this time, we will go to the Primarius report and the all-counters report with Cheyenne.
Donovan, you had about 7 ums and 2 you knows. Young May, you had 4 us and 1 you know. Heather, you used the word of the day, whether on purpose or not.
No.
Hollowed out. You still got it there. Gretchen, you had 2 us and 1 Then let's see. Heather, when you did your evaluation, you had 1 2 us, and 1 light. And Cody, you had 1 misspecific.
Thank you. And that will conclude the general evaluation. And I will relinquish the lectern back to the Toastmasters.
Yeah, I didn't exactly know which time you guys were.
So please sit down and we'll talk to you in a little bit. We're coming towards the end of the meeting, but that's still a good thing. What was your name?
Anthony.
Anthony. Welcome, Anthony.
All right, so we've concluded with the evaluation portion of our meeting. We do have an educational overview, right? Am I-
Yeah, I can do some.
Okay, so now we're going to hear from Cody on the education portion of our meeting.
So I want to hit two things. One's just some tips from the magazine, but the first one's involving pathways. So for everyone that's now in pathways, which most of our new members are, try to remember to print off your evaluation sheet so that we can have it in the meeting. And if you're not clear on how to do that, you can come get with me or Lawrence or Maurice, and we can show you how to do that. Because it makes the evaluation a lot more fruitful to you, because you can see exactly what pathways is wanting us to grade. And most of us are all, used to, we had one book, so we had all the evaluations. Now everyone's on different paths, so it makes it a little bit harder to determine what we're evaluating for people's
Also,
speeches.
can I put a point in here?
Sure.
Also, if you for some reason don't have the ability to print off, contact one of us and we'll make sure you get printed out for you.
Are you able to print like other paths? Like,
Yes,
okay,
yes, all of the evaluations are in the evaluation section of the base camp. All the way to the left,
so
right
anyone
side
can
of
print out
it.
any
You
evaluation?
just go in there and it shows every evaluation for the entire system.
Okay, awesome. So this is the new edition of Toastmasters magazine for the month. This is the cover. And a lot of us are now moving to more meetings via webcams and laptops and computers, so the satellite meeting. So these are 5 tips for participating in an online meeting. So the first thing is to make sure you know how to use the technology. So there's several different mediums: Zoom, Skype, Cisco WebEx. Make sure you know how to use it, because we do a lot of web meetings since we're an international company. And the most frustrating thing is getting there on time to the meeting and the guy's having trouble fumbling with it, and it takes 10 minutes for the meeting to start. So get a little familiar with the software that you're using before the meeting starts. The next, if you're using a webcam, is to look into the camera. So if you're running 2 monitors and your webcam's on one monitor, you're looking at a document there, it's not that appealing to stare at the side of someone's face the whole time during the meeting, so try to have a frontal view. And the third tip is to verbally direct traffic. So this one, I'm not quite sure. Okay, so just have basically a good agenda would help with this. So make sure everyone knows when they're supposed to speak, because it can get kind of crazy. You have 20 people and everyone's trying to talk, and that becomes very distracting and takes away from the meeting. Fourth one is don't get too comfortable. So I take this one as be professional. Don't attend your business meeting in pajamas. Or lean back too much. Try to, it is a little bit harder because you're not right in front of someone in a personal meeting, but try to maintain being professional. And also watch yourself. So if you record the meetings, you have your little view of what you're doing to just try to get better at perfecting the virtual meeting, which I think is going to become more and more important as we distribute the workforce all over the world. So that's some nice 5 tips. Yes, Lauren?
Could I add one more thing to that?
Yeah.
And that would be to focus on the meeting. Because I've seen many times when somebody's on and then something, and they get up and they go do something and they come back because they're still hearing it.
Right.
But, it gets distracting if you see people disappear and then come back. So if you're doing it from home, try to avoid distractions and little kids and dogs and everything else in the background.
Yeah.
So it's best to be able to just focus on what's going on the online.
And then, everybody tries to multitask also, which is not good. Okay. So that is the educational overview for tonight. If no one has anything else, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Awards. And Toastmaster and Toastmaster still.
Theoretically, the Toastmaster is still in charge.
Still alive. Okay. So I will now relinquish the lectern back to Diego.
And now everyone, I'm going to welcome to the stage our awards presenter, who is none other than Cody.
So you're going to relinquish it back to the president.
I'm going to turn it upside down.
Yeah, you're going to turn it over to the president. You'll turn it back over.
Sorry about that. I almost forgot the important awards for tonight. So I have the privilege to award Lawrence Crompton with the Advanced Communicator Gold Award for Toastmasters International. Thank you, Lawrence. Congratulations. That one out. PR.
We're all looking at you. We're all watching.
Want to get the Toastmasters International put on the background?
Yeah, let's go over here.
This is not staged at all.
You'll cut this out of the video, right? Okay, one other award.
All right, Lawrence. Congratulations. Okay. So, as Lawrence said, that is the highest award for communications. And is that still, those are still available through Pathways, right? It's just, or is it structured differently? Okay. So
Structured differently.
So that's an old system award. So
Yeah. One step away from my DTM.
Wow.
Distinguished Toastmasters.
Okay. So we're giving out their awards, and then Heather's got one coming, but I couldn't log yours in quite yet. I'll talk with you after the meeting. With that being said, we'll now officially adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.